Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and asked yourself quietly, why am I not where I want to be yet? Have you ever wondered, am I really doing enough, or am I just making excuses? Maybe the hardest question of all, am I losing to myself? Those questions usually don't arrive when the world is noisy. They show up in the quiet moments when the distractions fade, when the phone is down, when it's just you, your reflection, and all the weight of the person you know you could have been by now. Deep down, you feel it. That potential that keeps tapping on the inside of your ribs. That whisper that says, you're meant for more. But emotions, they creep in like fog. Fear, doubt, frustration. Some days you wake up ready to conquer the world, and other days your own mind pulls you back like quicksand. One moment you're full of fire, and the next you're overthinking, hesitating, giving into comfort, even though you promised yourself you were done with that. And the truth is, this struggle isn't unique to you. It's part of human nature. People have been wrestling with their own inner chaos for centuries. Long before you, and long before this era of endless distraction, someone else saw these patterns clearly and left behind a roadmap. Niccolo Machiavelli lived in a world of danger, betrayal, shifting alliances, violent power struggles. But beyond the politics, he studied something deeper, people. He understood how emotions weaken even the strongest person, and how self-mastery separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. His lessons weren't written to comfort you. They were written to wake you up, to force you to look inward. Because if you want control over your life, the first battle you must win is the one inside your own mind. This video isn't about becoming cold or emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally strong. Strong enough to reclaim your focus, your discipline, and your inner fire, even on the days when everything feels heavy and confusing. If you've ever felt like there's something inside you holding you back, this might be the moment you've needed. Before we begin, write this in the comments. I am in control of my emotions, and nothing can stop my rise. Let's begin. 1. Control your feelings. Don't let your feelings control you. There will be moments in life when every part of you wants to react. When someone disrespects you, when something falls apart, when fear whispers that you're not enough. And in those moments, it's incredibly easy to let your emotions take over. But that's where most people lose, not to the world, but to themselves. Machiavelli understood something most people never learn. Emotions are natural, but they're not always useful. Feeling something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Anger, fear, hope, excitement, these are part of being human. But the second you let them make decisions for you, you give away your power. You stop choosing with clarity and start reacting blindly. And when that becomes a pattern, you become someone even you can't rely on. He who builds on the people builds on the mud, Machiavelli once wrote. This wasn't just about politics, it was about stability. Anything built on shaky foundations collapses. And if your peace depends on other people, on circumstances, on moods, then your life is built on mud. But if you learn to stay centered, even when life pushes hard, then no storm can move you. Think back for a moment. Remember a time when you almost said or did something out of anger or fear, but you stopped yourself. And later, you were grateful you held back. That pause wasn't weakness. That was strength. That was self-command. Machiavelli never asked you to be emotionless. He asked you to be emotionally disciplined, to feel deeply, but act wisely. Because the person who can experience pressure, pain, frustration, yet remain steady is already ahead of most. So the next time your emotions start pulling you in a direction, ask yourself one question. Am I choosing this, or am I just reacting? Your answer may change your entire path. 2. Accept reality brutally. Don't live in illusions. There comes a point where lying to yourself is more destructive than anything the world could throw at you. We all do it in small ways. We tell ourselves things will fix themselves, that will start tomorrow, that maybe circumstances will magically shift. But comfort doesn't change your life. Facing the truth does. There's a reason people cling to comforting illusions. The truth demands change, and change demands responsibility. Machiavelli believed nothing was more dangerous than living inside fantasies. Not because fantasies make you naive, but because they keep you stuck. "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally," he wrote. Most people wait until reality hits them like a truck. They wait until the job is gone, until the relationship is broken, until the opportunity is too far behind them to chase. They wait until life forces them to face what they refuse to admit. But Machiavelli's point was simple. Don't let the world wake you up. Wake yourself up. Sometimes you avoid reality because deep down you fear what it will require of you. Because admitting the truth means you'll have to make changes you've been postponing. If you see that a relationship is toxic, you'll have to walk away. If you admit you've been lazy, you'll have to grow disciplined. If you acknowledge that you've been holding yourself back, you'll have to change how you live. That kind of responsibility is heavy, but it's also freedom. You cannot grow inside a lie. You cannot heal if you pretend you're not hurt. You cannot move forward if you keep waiting for the perfect time. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It keeps moving. So ask yourself right now, what truth am I avoiding? What reality am I refusing to look at? Maybe it's your habits. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's the version of yourself you've been clinging to, even though it's no longer serving you. You don't have to fix everything today, but you do have to face it today. Machiavelli wasn't trying to make people cold. He wanted them awake. He wanted them to see the world clearly, even when clarity hurt. Because once you stop hiding from the truth, you can finally build a life that's real. Few people change their lives because they find the right moment. They change their lives because they decide to see things as they truly are, not as they wish they were. Ask yourself honestly, am I living in truth or hiding in hope? That one answer may shake you, but it might also save you. 3. Use strategy, not just strength. You can raise your voice, clench your fists, talk tough, and convince yourself you're hard to deal with. But strength without strategy collapses under pressure. Strength gets attention. Strategy earns respect. And respect, once earned, opens doors force never could. Machiavelli didn't admire brute force. He admired precision. He admired the person who could move in silence, plan ahead, and strike only when the moment was right. He famously said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Most people misunderstand this. He wasn't telling you to be cruel. He was telling you to build a presence and energy that makes people think twice before crossing you. Not because they fear punishment, but because they recognize your clarity, your self-control, your consistency. Most people act on impulse. They try to prove themselves in the heat of the moment. But proof doesn't come from reaction. It comes from outcomes. And outcomes come from strategy, from knowing who you are, where you're going, and how to get there without wasting your energy. Think of all the opportunities you missed because you rushed, reacted emotionally, or acted without thinking things through. That wasn't weakness. It was humanity. But Machiavelli would say the lesson is simple. Emotion-driven strength burns hot and burns out. Strategic strength lasts. Being strategic means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to engage and when to walk away, when to take a risk and when to wait for a better opening. None of this is manipulation. It's maturity, building a life that runs on direction, not chaos. So next time you feel the urge to force your way through a situation, pause. Ask yourself, what is the smartest move here, not the loudest? Because strength might break a wall, but strategy builds kingdoms. 4. Be adaptable and unpredictable. Life is unpredictable, and almost nothing goes exactly as planned. One moment everything feels stable, and the next moment the ground shifts beneath your feet. The job disappears. The person you trusted leaves. The plan you relied on suddenly stops working. Adaptability is not optional. It's survival. Machiavelli understood that those who refuse to change eventually break. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times, he wrote. Most people respond to change with resistance. They cling to the familiar, even when it hurts them. They repeat old behaviors that no longer work. They expect the world to adjust to them. But the world doesn't bend. You must evolve. Adaptability isn't losing yourself. It's discovering new versions of yourself, versions you didn't even know existed. And unpredictability is a form of power. When people can't put you in a box, when they can't figure out your next move, when you don't respond the same way twice, you become someone they respect, someone they can't prepare for. So, ask yourself, when life hits you unexpectedly, do you freeze? Do you fight change? Or do you learn, adjust, and rise? Being adaptable makes you unbreakable. Being unpredictable makes you unforgettable. 5. Control your image, because perception is reality. Here's a truth most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. You can be a good person, work hard, and have the best intentions in the world. But if the way you carry yourself doesn't reflect that, the world may never see it. People don't always take the time to understand who you really are. They react to what they see: your posture, tone, energy, confidence, presence. That's why controlling your image isn't fake. It's necessary. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." And he wasn't being cynical. He was being realistic. In life, people don't carry mirrors, they carry perceptions. And those perceptions either open doors for you or quietly close them without you even realizing. So ask yourself honestly, what do people feel when they meet you? Do you give off calm, confident energy? Or do you give off doubt and uncertainty? Do you appear intentional? Or do you look like you're constantly trying to prove yourself? This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about making sure the person you are on the inside is consistent with the person you project on the outside. Because like it or not, your image speaks even when your mouth is silent. When you walk into a room, people notice how you hold yourself, how you look at others, how you handle pressure, how you respond to tension. All of these create a story about you. And if that story says, "I am in control," people treat you differently. They respect you more. They hesitate before disrespecting you. They think twice before challenging you. Most people think you need to shout, talk loudly, or dominate to earn respect. You don't. You simply need to be consistent. Your actions, your tone, your energy, all aligned with the identity you're building. Your reputation becomes your silent shield. When people believe you hold yourself to a high standard, they naturally respond to you with more care, more caution, more respect. But controlling your image doesn't mean pretending to be perfect. It means being conscious. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to carry yourself like someone who knows where they're going and refuses to be shaken by small things. So, ask yourself this. What does my presence communicate before I say a single word? Because the world will always judge what it sees, so make sure what it sees is aligned with the power you're becoming. 6. Don't show weakness. Strength is a signal. There's a certain silence that fills a room when someone exposes too much insecurity. People notice. They calculate. And while they might not say anything, they remember. The truth is uncomfortable but necessary. Most people don't respond to vulnerability with compassion. They respond with evaluation. Machiavelli understood this harsh reality. He wrote, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when doing so is against his interests." In other words, being too open, too trusting, too transparent can weaken you. This doesn't mean you have to be fake or pretend life is perfect. It means you need boundaries. Strength isn't the absence of pain. It's the ability to hold yourself together when that pain wants to make you crumble. It's standing tall even when the inside feels shaky. It's choosing dignity over emotional impulsiveness. You probably remember a moment when you trusted the wrong person, shared too much, or showed softness to someone who hadn't earned it. What happened? Did it empower you or did it cost you something? Most likely, it cost you. Because when people sense unlimited access to your emotions, they use it intentionally or not. They adjust their behavior around your insecurities. They test your limits. They push until something breaks in you. This doesn't make them evil. It makes them human. People respect boundaries that are firm. They follow people who don't bend at every breeze. They admire those who aren't easily shaken. Showing less weakness isn't about being cold, it's about being wise with who gets to see your soul. You don't owe your vulnerability to everyone. You reserve it for the people who truly earn it. Everywhere else, let your steadiness speak for you. Let your consistency communicate your strength. Let your silence become your message. Machiavelli understood that power isn't loud. It's stable. So ask yourself, what signal am I sending when pressure hits? Do you shrink, apologize, or soften your truth? Or do you remain grounded, clear, and centered? The world respects those whose strength is steady, not dramatic. Show the world what stability looks like. 7. Plan. For long-term success, not short-term comfort. Everyone wants results. Everyone wants progress. But most people sabotage themselves by chasing what feels good now rather than what builds them into someone unstoppable. Machiavelli once said, "The ends justify the means." People often twist this into something sinister, but the core principle is simple. Focus on outcomes that matter, not temporary rewards. You can either be someone who sacrifices discipline for comfort, or someone who sacrifices comfort for a future no one believes you can build. Most people give up not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They want immediate results. They want the reward without the grind. They want the transformation without the consistency. But real success grows in silence. It grows in late nights, in early mornings, in the moments when no one is cheering for you. Long-term success demands discipline when motivation disappears. It demands saying no to distractions when they look tempting. It demands refusing shortcuts because shortcuts never build strength. Think about the times you broke a commitment to yourself because it felt hard. Think of how badly those little compromises added up over time. Success isn't one big moment. It's a direction, a daily decision. Machiavelli's wisdom doesn't tell you to be ruthless with the world. It tells you to be disciplined with yourself, to see beyond today, to build the life tomorrow you will thank you for. Now ask yourself, am I building a future or chasing moments? Am I choosing comfort or choosing growth? Because nothing can stop your rise if you stop stopping yourself. When you understand Machiavelli's laws, not as manipulation but as self-mastery, you begin to realize something powerful. You don't become unstoppable by force. You become unstoppable by design. And that design continues with the next principle. 8. Become adaptable and unpredictable. People love patterns. They love routines, predictability, and knowing exactly how you'll respond. It makes you easy to manage, easy to read, and easy to manipulate. But Machiavelli warned that predictability is a trap. Life doesn't follow your plans. It bends, shifts, breaks, and rearranges everything when you least expect it. The people you trust change. The opportunities you wanted vanish. The path you're on suddenly becomes a dead end. When that happens, one thing determines whether you rise or crumble: your ability to adapt. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times, Machiavelli wrote. Most people respond to change with resistance. They cling to what's familiar even when it hurts them. They repeat the same behavior even when it no longer works. They expect the world to adjust to them, when the truth is the world owes them nothing. Adaptability isn't losing yourself. It's evolving into a stronger version of yourself. Adaptability says, I won't break just because life shifted. I will shift with it. Unpredictability, on the other hand, is psychological power. When people can't label you, when they can't fully understand your patterns, when they don't know whether you'll stay, walk away, speak up, or go silent, they respect you more. They tread carefully. They evaluate their behavior around you. Because the unknown creates pressure. Being adaptable makes you resilient. Being unpredictable makes you unforgettable. So ask yourself, do people know exactly how to handle you because you always respond the same way? If the answer is yes, it's time to evolve. 9. Understand the power of controlled presence. There's something strange that happens when your presence suddenly becomes intentional. Most people move through the world trying to be seen, trying to be included, trying to stay relevant. They respond instantly. They show up everywhere. They try to be available for everyone. But Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. What is always available becomes invisible. If you're always there, people stop noticing. If you always reply, people stop appreciating. If you always give, people stop valuing. Scarcity creates respect. Distance creates attention. Controlled presence creates authority. This is why kings, leaders, and powerful individuals throughout history were never accessible to everyone. Their time was rare. Their attention was selective. Their presence was valuable because it wasn't constant. Ask yourself, who gets your time without earning it? Who gets your energy even when they don't deserve it? Who receives replies from you simply because you felt obligated? Machiavelli would shake his head at that. Presence must be earned, not assumed. When you decide where you appear, when you speak, whom you engage with, your social gravity increases. People think before addressing you. They choose their words carefully. They respect the boundaries you no longer have to announce. You don't become powerful by being loud. You become powerful by being precise. Be seen when it matters. Disappear when it doesn't. 10. Master emotional neutrality. Weak men explode. Strong men endure. Unstoppable men remain unreadable. Machiavelli understood the lethal beauty of emotional neutrality. He wrote that a leader must act with coldness and calculation, not because he lacked emotion, but because he refused to let his enemies weaponize it. Think of the last time you were provoked, the last time someone said something to get a reaction out of you. The last time someone tried to pull you into drama, conflict, or emotional chaos. Who had control in that moment? The one who provoked you, not you. When you react emotionally, you hand over the steering wheel of your life. When you stay neutral, you keep your power. People try to trigger you because they can't control someone who is calm under pressure. Anger is predictable. Silence is not. Explosions are familiar. Stillness is intimidating. Neutrality doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't leak. It means your emotions don't guide your actions. Your principles do. Your purpose does. Your direction does. When you maintain emotional stability, you become incredibly difficult to manipulate. Insults lose their impact. Passive-aggressive comments fall flat. Attempts to provoke you turn into embarrassing failures. Those who thrive on chaos can't handle someone they can't destabilize. This is why emotional neutrality is not weakness. It's elite strength. 11. Practice strategic patience. Everyone is in a rush. Everyone wants results now. Everyone craves progress instantly. But Machiavelli taught a quieter, more dangerous form of power, the power of timing. A hunter doesn't fire at the first sign of movement. He waits. He observes. He studies the terrain. He fires once when the moment is perfect. Most people fail not because they're incapable, but because they move too fast. They commit too early. They speak too soon. They act without thinking. They rush because they fear being left behind. But real power belongs to those who can sit in the tension. Strategic patience allows you to see people clearly, spot opportunities others miss, and strike when the reward is greatest. You don't need to respond right away. You don't need to fix everything instantly. You don't need to prove yourself in every moment. Your silence is preparation. Your waiting is calculation. Your delay is discipline. Machiavelli said fortune favors those who adapt, and adaptation requires patience. Not passive waiting, not laziness, strategic waiting. Waiting with intention, waiting with awareness, waiting with purpose. When you do strike, the impact is undeniable. You've now learned not just how to rise, but how to rise with intent. Not just how to survive, but how to build psychological power that cannot be shaken. You've walked through Machiavelli's laws: emotional control, strategic silence, adaptable presence, long-term thinking, and now you stand at the edge of something most people never reach: self-command. This final part isn't just a conclusion. It's the turning point where the lessons stop being theory and begin shaping who you become. Let's finish what we started. 12. Reclaim control of your inner world. Machiavelli's real philosophy was never about manipulation. It wasn't about becoming cold, cruel, or ruthless. It was about mastery. Mastery of your perception, your emotions, your actions, your future. Because once you command what happens inside you, nothing outside you can break you. Most people live their entire lives reacting to insults, reacting to chaos, reacting to the moods of others, reacting to fear, reacting to pressure. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they stay fragile. That's why they never rise. But when you begin to control your inner responses, to pause instead of panic, to think instead of explode, to observe instead of fear, you become someone the world can't shake. Machiavelli wanted you to see that a steady mind is more powerful than a strong fist. Because a mind you control becomes a weapon no one else can use against you. 13. Build a future based on discipline, not emotion. Here's a hard truth. You cannot trust your feelings to build the life you want. Feelings change. Discipline endures. Motivation fades. Direction stays. People wait for the right moment to reinvent themselves. But the right moment doesn't arrive, it's created. Machiavelli believed that the most powerful people weren't the ones who felt the most inspired. They were the ones who acted with intention, even when they didn't feel like it. Want to be unstoppable? Stop relying on mood. Start relying on structure. Your discipline becomes your identity. Your habits become your armor. Your routine becomes your path out of the person you used to be. Every small promise you keep to yourself is a form of power. Every time you resist temptation, you carve a new direction. Every day you show up, even imperfectly, you build momentum that emotion can never replicate. This is how your future is built. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. 14. Stop chasing approval. Start creating gravity. A man who chases approval becomes predictable. A man who creates gravity becomes respected. Machiavelli would tell you that needing validation makes you manipulable, makes you soft, makes you bend where you should stand firm. When you need to be liked, you become easy to control. When you need to be understood, you become easy to read. When you need agreement, you become easy to undermine. But when you become someone who doesn't require external permission to move forward, something shifts. People speak to you with more intention. Your presence carries weight. Your silence becomes a statement. Your boundaries are felt, not negotiated. Respect has nothing to do with popularity. Respect grows from clarity, consistency, and restraint. Stop asking for space, command it. Stop proving your worth, show it through your actions. Stop explaining yourself to small minds. Let your results speak for you. The strongest people in the room aren't loud. They're controlled. And because they're controlled, they become magnetic. 15. Make your rise non-negotiable. Nothing in your life will change until you make one decision. You will rise no matter what tries to stop you. That includes your fear, your doubts, your old habits, your comfort zone, your past version of yourself. Rise despite all of it. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they lack persistence. They quit when it gets hard. They fall apart when their emotions get loud. They fold when the world doesn't clap for them. But not you, not anymore. You now understand something most people will never grasp. Your rise is not emotional. It's strategic. It's disciplined. It's intentional. It's built on choices you make quietly every single day. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need perfect motivation. You don't need anyone's permission. You only need a decision. And the decision is this: I am in control of my emotions, and nothing can stop my rise. Write it in the comments, not because I said so, but because you're done being controlled by the weaker version of yourself. Write it as a declaration. Write it as a contract with your future self.